greeting. A good morning to each and all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Today is certainly a day that our congregation annually sets apart in order to celebrate the mutual fidelity of our sisters and God for the past 25, 50, 60, 70, and yes, 80 years. While our celebration, of course, needs to be different than how we traditionally gather, have no doubt that even though live stream, the profound joy and respect for each of you, the Jubilarians, is real. You, our sisters, have lived out your vows of consecrated celibacy and poverty and obedience as followers of St. Dominic, and by your faithful witness to the people of God. This special day for you, likewise, invites all of us, each one of us, to reflect upon our personal lifestyles, commitments, and relationship with God. Jubilarians, as Scripture says, may this year be set apart for you. Might it be an entire year of rest and renewal, a rest that you and God design very personally, allowing you to trust that God yearns for time with you, and that you might believe God's desire is to be with you so that you may be restored, renewed, and free. These are the graced gifts of this sacred time. And so as we acknowledge you, our Jubilarians, praying with us in this chapel or elsewhere, be so very sure that you are in our hearts and prayers as we give thanks that you are Sisters of St. Dominic of Amityville. And as we begin this Jubilee year, we celebrate our sisters here in the States and in Puerto Rico, whose lives show us the path of faithful discipleship, lived out in joy and hope. With their yes to their call, they have surrendered themselves to the God of gracious abundance. They have committed themselves individually and communally to contemplative prayer and to living. And so we rejoice to hear their hymns.
We celebrate the lives of Cornelius Lafani, celebrating 80 years. Dorothy Kane, Lucy Maytrap, Teresa McComb, Anna Mae Rochford, and Adele Ruth, celebrating 75 years.
We celebrate the lives of Augusta Concha, Catherine Benedict Higgins, Anne Martin Kelly, Rita Ann Sculty, and Barbara Ann Shea, celebrating 70 years.
Our sisters have embraced the call to prophetic justice and truth. We celebrate the lives of Maria Bernadette Tomeo, Margaret Mary Flanagan, Jean Agnes Garrity, Elizabeth Nahum, Alice Grillo, Anne-Marie Kermsey, Angela Levecki, Carol Ann Massoni, Eileen Marie McCormick, and Melbourne.
Marguerite Nettinger, Catherine Peluso, Patricia Pick, Kathleen Reardon, Margaret Salmon, Anne Sheehan, Ursula Sheridan, Julie Thompson, Margaret Tully, Joanne Walters, celebrating 60 years.
They have opened themselves to more intentional collaboration with the larger Dominican family and with others. We celebrate the life of Lizette Arinale Aviles, celebrating 25 years.
These Dominican women have lived a lifelong discipleship journey of kenosis, emptying themselves in order to make room for others. Instead of pushing their way to the front, they stood in solidarity with those in the back. Instead of sweet-talking their way to the top, they put on aprons and served those at the bottom. Instead of being obsessed with getting their own advantage, they voluntarily divested themselves of privilege and prestige. They forgot themselves long enough to lend a helping hand. Our sister Jubilarians made room for others in classrooms, hospitals, nursing homes, parishes, and retreat centers. Their voluntary divesting of privilege and entitlement enabled them to make room for others, to literally accommodate the homeless and the dispossessed. As social workers, directors of parish outreach programs, and advocates for the voiceless, our sisters were willing to empty themselves without losing their identity. They were there for others, listening to others, praying for others, networking for others, speaking grace and truth to others as preachers of the gospel. We have much to celebrate during this coming year of Jubilee.
And so may this time of Jubilee remind us all of our commitment, all of us, for our commitment to care deeply for each other and all of creation. This is our holy preaching. And so congratulations and felicidades. Please join in congratulating